Hey guys, Horace here, and today I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make seaweed. This was requested by someone in my Discord, so if you're not already in there, do that. But I am currently making an under the sea world, so I'm making a large amount of assets to help me with that process for no particular reason, of course. Now, I have my little bit of a seaweed design right here. It's a fairly large seaweed. This is not a small seaweed, but I might make a tutorial later on with that. But for now, this is just going to be a fairly large seaweed. You can kind of size this up as large as you want, but for the most part, it's just a normal size thing. I don't know. But yeah, let's get right into it. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to change the selection type on our wand. The normal selection type is / cuboid, and that is fairly simple. It's cuboid. That's going to be your 1, 2 selections. You're going to have 2 positions. You cannot have 3 or anything like that. So what you're going to need to do is going to do cell convex, just like that. And that way you now are able to get more than 2 selections on your world. To restart the selection, you just need to left click again, which is just restarting your selection at pause 1. And then you can add as many selections as you want onto that using your right click. So just to recap, left click restarts the selection, and then right click adds on as many selections as you want. So let's just start a selection by just plopping down a block in the middle of this, making our first selection, flying up a little bit here, and then doing /2, then doing /2, and then going a little bit higher, and then doing /2. And then the command that we're going to be using is spike. Now, it depends on how you want this to look like, and you can also see the usage of this command right there. And so we're going to do 133, which is just the ID block, or the ID for emerald block, and basically then these 3 numbers, size 1, size 2, and size 3. Basically, this is the base of the the starting size. This is the middle size, and then this is the end size. So I'm just going to go 4, 3, and 3 just to kind of make it a bit simple. And then basically what we're going to do is we're going to just start adding leaves onto this. You could probably just do this by adding leaves onto it. Let me make sure my sound is not too loud, because I know that I've had problems with that in the past. But yeah, and then basically you can shape this if you'd like. I'm not going to really bother, because most of the time people aren't like super up close to the seaweed. Most of the time they're just looking at it from a really big far or from a render perspective. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. But if you're, really particular about your details, that is something I'd suggest doing. And then basically you just kind of come up every once in a while, and just, I mean, it's as bad as simple as that. Coloring is pretty simple for the most part. It's literally just about adding leaves and making them look good. A lot of the things that I feel like I make mistakes on is when I add too much to this like area right here, where it just feels like there's a big chunk of stuff there. So generally I just have like 1 or 2 blocks connecting it, and then I just kind of go up just like that, go out a little bit every once in a while. And then over time, it's just going to start looking more and more like your seaweed. The more curvy you want it, the more curvy you want it. It really just depends on what you want and the things that you're going to be using it for. But for me, I don't really care too much. I'm not too worried about it because it's seaweed. It isn't this natural, like perfectly uniform type of plant. And so I don't really think that worrying too much about the shape is going to be something that you're going to need to worry about constantly. Like, I think that I think I do worry about that a little bit too much. And I just kind of go with the flow a little bit more. For the top, you just kind of add a little bit of extra seaweed. Sometimes this little top part is just a little too thick. So sometimes you can kind of just come up with a few other blocks, and you can kind of just extend that. Just to make it feel a little bit more natural and stuff like that. Now, when it comes down to your painting, that is just a lot of what you want to do. What I'm going to do here is, instead of this just being the leaf block, I'm going to replace that with, I'm going to replace hand with 57 to just give me a uniform thing. But first, I need to remember that I am in the wrong selection tool. So what I need to do is I need to do /cell cuboid, which allows me to go back to that normal 1, 2 selection so that I can select whatever I want. I want to make sure that I get on these corners so I'm not selecting anything else. I'm going to do / replace 18 1 and then 57, which just, okay, that's not going to work. I feel like the IDs for leaves have changed for some reason. Or maybe I'm just stupid. But anyway, just to do it simply, it's now I have it in a little bit of a different block so that you can kind of change that. Obviously, this is not completely done with all of the leaf things for now, but to shorten the video up instead of watching me do this entire thing, I'm just going to do this right now. Obviously, I think that some of the things need to be edited, but that you can do in your own time. Now, when it comes to the actually painting, you can really do anything you want. Some people really like doing stuff like this, where it's 133 and then 25 or 2515. Some people really like that lime green. I personally don't, so I generally go with something darker. A lot of the time is what I'll do is I'll do hashtag Perlin noise, which is basically just a noise pattern. The 5 is basically how big the noise pattern is. So if you do a really big noise pattern, it's going to be a really big splotches basically. But 5 is a general, generally pretty small. And then another bracket with the IDs that you want. I'm just going to do 25113, which is just green or dark green concrete, and then I'm going to do 1595, and then that's just going to kind of give me a little bit of a noise pattern. With that, you can add as many blocks as you want. Sometimes you just go with one, sometimes you don't. I'm just going to go with what I have here, and then of course you can change these to leaf blocks, but you also have a few other options. Not to mention the fact that you can change it to other leaf blocks, but other things that I've used in the past is you can use it cactus. This doesn't look the best personally, but it is certainly possible. Don't have any water next to it because it's gonna pop off and update it and make it a complete mess. Sometimes you can use green wool and stuff like that. So it's really up to you. But for me personally, I just like using my normal leaves or between jungle or oak. Really does the job. And I really, really like the look of it. So yeah. Another thing that you can do to make your seaweed look better is by adding some glass. You can even use this as the like a replacement to the jungle leaves, but for the most part, I just like putting it on top. And how you would do that is basically by adding a G mask, 0, making sure that you are only masking air. Just like that, 0 or air works, doesn't matter, completely interchangeable. I'm going to make sure that all of the leaves are the same, so let me make sure that I get the ID for this. So I'm just going to do / replace hand 18.3, and that way they're all going to be jungle blocks, but they're not because my G-mask is on. So let me do that real quickly, and then I'm going to turn my G-mask back on so that I'm only affecting air. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace above hand, or just doing 18.3, and I'm going to do 1913, just like that. And basically what it's going to do is just going to place some glass above it. I don't know, just gives it a little bit of a nicer look personally. Completely, you can have it with or without it. Anyway, yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Watch these 2 videos. One is a link to my playlist. If you want to get better at building, join my Discord, and I'll see you later. Peace.